Hello everyone, welcome back to the JiKook Diaries channel. There were no screams, no overreactions. But that was precisely the problem. Jungkook approached Jimin in a way that shouldn't happen on camera. Too close, too calm, too comfortable. And by the time everyone realized it, it was too late. Because the moment wasn't just a coincidence anymore. The only question now was what exactly was Jungkook doing to Jimin this time? No one was truly prepared for what happened this time. Even the fans who had followed their every move for years were left speechless. It wasn't because the moment was too big, or because the camera was too obvious, but because it all felt unplanned, too natural, too honest, and too hard to ignore. At first, it seemed like a normal moment. The same room, the same calm atmosphere, and the familiar facial expressions. But something changed. There was a pause that felt longer than usual. Jungkook's gaze held still, then slowly shifted toward Jimin. Unhurried, not seeking attention, as if he'd forgotten the world was watching. As if all he had in front of him was that one person. Jimin, as usual, didn't react immediately. He smiled a small smile, a smile we often see, but this time it was different. There was a subtle quiver in his eyes, like someone who knew exactly what was going on, but chose not to say it. And that's where things got interesting, because Jungkook then did something that made many people wonder what exactly was going on between them now. It wasn't a big gesture. It might have even been missed by those not paying close attention. Jungkook leaned in, not dramatically, but enough to violate the personal space usually maintained in public. His shoulder almost brushed Jimin's. His hand moved slowly, as if searching for an excuse, then stopped in a place that felt too intimate to be mere coincidence. And Jimin's reaction? There was no rejection, no distance created. Quite the opposite. His body leaned in slightly, following Jungkook's direction, as if to say that this wasn't unfamiliar to him, as if this was something that happened often when the cameras weren't around. This is where fans began to sense something different. This wasn't fan service. There were no overly exaggerated smiles. There were no forced reactions. There was only a silence that spoke louder than words. Jungkook seemed focused. His gaze dropped for a moment, then returned to Jimin's face, with an expression that was hard to describe. There was tenderness there. There was ownership, and a boldness he usually didn't show in public. Many wondered what was Jungkook doing to Jimin at that moment. Was he protecting, calming, or was he expressing something he'd held in for too long? Because if you look closely, Jungkook's approach to Jimin this time was different from before. There was a newfound confidence. It was as if he no longer cared much about who saw. Jimin himself seemed to accept it all with a striking calm. There was no surprise. There was no awkward laughter. He simply remained silent, allowing Jungkook to be so close, allowing the moment to last longer than it should have. And when he finally turned, their eyes met. Not for long, but enough to take many's breath away. This was the kind of moment that couldn't be faked, couldn't be rehearsed, couldn't be repeated with the same results. Because what was being seen wasn't two idols on stage, but two humans comfortable in the same space. Too comfortable, even. Fans began to realize one important thing. Their relationship had evolved. Whatever the definition, it was clearly no longer just casual intimacy. Jungkook no longer seemed hesitant to show his affection for Jimin, even in situations that would normally make him more cautious. And Jimin? He seemed like someone who had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Not with great expectation, but with quiet patience. There was something almost imperceptible, yet very noticeable. The way Jungkook slightly adjusted his position to make Jimin more comfortable. The way he lowered the pitch of his voice when speaking to him. The way his body instinctively turned toward Jimin, as if the world around him faded away. All these small details accumulated, forming a picture that was hard to deny. What made it all the more unexpected was the timing and the place. There was no reason for Jungkook to do it. No scripted demands. No fan pressure. But that's precisely where his honesty lay. He did it because he wanted to, because he felt safe, and perhaps because he knew Jimin would understand. Some fans have called this moment the turning point. When Jungkook stopped hiding his feelings with jokes or distance. When he chose to be fully present, even if only for a moment. And Jimin, in his own way, let him be. No words, no drama, just a genuine presence. If we look back, all of this had actually been apparent for a long time. The way they always looked for each other in the room. The way their names always came up in each other's stories. The way their little habits connected. But this time, everything felt clearer, bolder, more real. The question was no longer whether there was something between them. The question was, how far were they willing to let it go? Because this moment, however small, had opened so many eyes. And for many, this was no longer a theory. This was a feeling captured on camera. And when the moment finally passed, Jungkook stepped back a little. Not far, just enough to return to normal. But something had changed. Jimin smiled again. A warmer, deeper smile. It was as if he was carrying something new within his heart. Something that didn't need to be shared, but was clearly felt. We may never know what Jungkook did to Jimin that moment, in the truest sense. But we do know what we saw. And what we saw were two hearts increasingly struggling to hide their comfort with each other. Unexpected, yes, but it also felt incredibly honest. And if this was just the beginning of something bolder, then one thing was certain. JiKook was no longer trying so hard to appear normal, because what they had now, whatever you call it, was too real to deny. And maybe we were never really given a direct answer. But that's precisely the beauty of it. In the held gazes, the too close distances, and the silences that speak more truthfully than words. What Jungkook did to Jimin that night may never be confirmed. But the feelings captured on camera were hard to deny. If you feel the same way, don't forget to hit like, share this video with your fellow armies, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this was just a spontaneous moment, or a sign that something deeper is growing between them? Thank you for watching and reading until the end of JiKook Diaries. If you also feel the same vibe from this moment, don't forget to like this video, share it with your fellow armies, and leave a comment. Because their story, it seems like it's far from over. Subscribe to JiKook Diaries so you don't miss every little detail that others might miss. Because in JiKook's world, the most important things often happen silently.